Okay, this is where we're at. You've completed all the initial steps before you applied for your dealer's license. Then you submitted all your documentation for your dealer license. And now you have received your Arizona dealer's license. Congratulations. The first thing you want to do with your dealer's license is display it prominently. Display your dealer's license in a conspicuous place at your licensed business. You don't want to store that dealer license in a drawer or a file cabinet. You've got to display it prominently. This is a state law. You know, I know you're going to work hard to get your dealer's license, and once you've gotten that dealer's license, you're going to be very proud of it. You must display your dealer's license prominently. This is a state law, so you want to make sure that you always prominently display your dealer's license in a conspicuous place. As a side note, I always want you to be aware that you must notify the Motor Vehicle Division Dealer Licensing Unit if you ever change your business hours or your email or your business name or your location, or if you add or delete an owner, officer, or agent, or you go out of business, or if you cancel your dealer's license. So remember, you've always got to maintain communication with the dealer licensing unit in case you ever make any changes to your license. So now that you have a dealer's license, you are going to need to register with Service Arizona. So like I talked about a little bit ago. So you have to register with Service Arizona for the access to Service Arizona dealer services. And there's a dealer suite in Service Arizona. And the first thing you can do is register by email. You can email easyhelp@us.ibm.com. Once again, that's easyhelp@us.ibm.com, or by phone at 866-436-9566. So registering with Service Arizona, the dealer suite, will allow you to renew your dealer license annually. You can issue temporary registration plates and permits as applicable, and we're going to cover those here in a little bit. And you'll have access to additional dealer services as applicable to your license. So this is a requirement for every licensed dealer in the state. I want to repeat that. This is a requirement for every licensed dealer in the state. So I'm going to show you how to register with Service Arizona right now. So you will have sent an email there, and you're going to receive an activation email that's going to come from azsg@sazbsmtp.clearlake.ibm.com. Just watch for a long email there. And you're going to follow that link on that email to activate your account. So once you activate your account, you're going to be able to go to the page titled Accessible Applications. And if you're not the website, you can enter the following address in your internet web browser, which is secure.servicearizona.com. Note, it does not use a www at the beginning. It's just secure.servicearizona.com. And if you're at the correct website, you're going to see a screen like the one you see right here. So you're going to click in for the very first time when you're logging back in. So you're going to create an account, and then you'll click the blue register link at the very top there. Once again, this is a pretty automated process that you'll see here. And then from the select application drop-down menu, you're going to select the Dealer Services MVD dealer choice to easily register with Service Arizona to have access to the Service Arizona dealer suite of services. Very, very easy to use. You know, and also, I just always want to give you that reminder that once you have access to Service Arizona dealer suite of services, you can renew your dealer license annually. You can issue TRPs and permits as applicable. Like I said, we'll cover those here in a little bit. And you will have access to additional dealer services on the Service Arizona dealer suite, such as access to like a very extensive dealer title clerk manual. So there's a huge dealer clerk title manual that you can access there as well. So I want you to be aware of that. But, you know, if you need any assistance with Service Arizona, they got great contact information for you. You can call 866-436-9566, or you can drop them an email, easyhelp@us.ibm.com. Once again, that's easyhelp@us.ibm.com, or call them at 866-436-9566, and they will certainly help you, because as a dealer, you have to register with Service Arizona once you have gained your dealer's license. And once again, I want to let you know, we've got tons of great links for you at the same website that you signed up for the course at, arizonadealers.com. And we're going to have links to manuals, any updated statutes and things like that. So hopefully, you know, once you've gotten your dealer's license, or maybe you're currently a licensed dealer, you can stay on that website at all times. We'll have links to great resources for you, and we'll be adding more and more content to that website. So you might want to check back. And, you know, when you register for this course, make sure that you hang on to that email verification that we send you, and that's always going to give you access to the part of the website that no one else has access to, okay? So definitely keep that email that you received after you've gotten your tuition paid for on the course for all these dealer courses. Make sure and keep that email on file. That way you can log back on at any time and watch all these training videos. And like I said, we will be adding more and more content. So if you think we got a lot of content for you right now, wait till later. We've got a lot more content that's coming your way. Next, I want to cover the legal use of your dealer license plates, okay? Now, when I tell you how to use your dealer license plates legally, you're going to see some dealers that are using theirs illegally, and that's absolutely not acceptable. So I want to let you know how you can use your dealer plates legally so you can stay in business for many, many years, okay? Now, most used dealers do obtain dealer plates. You're not required to, but, if you're going to be buying and selling vehicles, you'll need them for vehicle transport and things like that. So first, let's go ahead and cover the legal use of your dealer plates. And there, as you see on screen, you're going to get your dealer plate. It'll have your dealer number right there. It'll state that you're a dealer, and it'll have your expiration sticker up there at the top right as well. And as a reminder, as I said earlier, if you ever let your dealer license expire and you're driving a vehicle with a dealer plate with an expired tag, that's a big no-no. That is absolutely against the law. You can never use an expired dealer plate on any vehicle. So make sure and keep your license in current status. That way you can always keep your dealer plates in current status as well. So first, I want to cover the legal use of dealer license plates. This is how you can use them legally. They can be placed on vehicles operated by an owner, employee, or prospective buyer in connection with the dealer's business. Now, prospective buyer, that's a person that's doing a test drive of your vehicles, operated as personal use, transportation, if assigned to the dealer, or maybe a full-time employee, and there's a record of that assignment that's made, make sure that you got all that documentation. And, we're using these as demonstration purposes. You're putting them on vehicles that your customers are out test driving. You're putting them on vehicles that maybe you're driving back and forth to a dealer auction. You're not really slapping a dealer plate on an RV and then driving it to Yellowstone for 6 or 7 months and then selling it when you get back. The state would like you to be trying to market the vehicles that you have a dealer plate on. But with that being said, here are some illegal dealer plate usage, okay? You can never put a dealer plate on a work or what we call a service vehicle. Let's talk about that. Your dealer's license is going to allow you to get into that dealer auction, and you can buy that beautiful 3/4 ton truck and put a dealer plate on it and allow your customers to test drive that. That's legal. That's 100% legal. But what you couldn't do in the meantime is take that 3/4 ton truck that's got a dealer plate on it and hook some trailer on the back of it and start hauling cars back and forth to the dealer auction. That becomes a service vehicle because you're using it to service the dealership. So you would have to register and pay sales tax on that vehicle. So always remember this. You can never, ever haul anything behind a dealer license plate. So you can never use them on a work or service vehicle. You could never rent a vehicle out that's got a dealer plate on it. So, I've read a case where we had a dealer that had an RV that was putting dealer plates on the RVs and generating rental revenue with vehicles that he hadn't paid sales tax on, which is highly against the law. So you can't put them on a vehicle that you've rented out, or maybe you've leased the vehicle to someone. You can't put a dealer plate on that. You can also never place a dealer plate on a vehicle that's already been sold. Okay, we're going to talk about those temporary plates here in just a little bit. In fact, in the next section here. So you can never put them on a vehicle that's already been sold. Once you've sold a vehicle, then you're going to have to put the temporary registration license plate on there. And you can also never put it on what is known as a laden vehicle or laden vehicle, however you want to state that. So let's say, for example, you've got a great big trailer, and you got somebody that's wanting to test drive the trailer and they're hauling stuff on the trailer. That can't be happening with the dealer plate on it unless they've got a specific laden vehicle permit, which is another set of paperwork. So with that being said, you need to make sure that you're always using your dealer plates legally. I see all over the place dealers using their plates illegally all the time. I'll be driving down the interstate and I'll see, a 3/4 ton truck with a dealer plate on it that's got a trailer behind it with a dealer plate on the trailer, and they got some car they just bought from the dealer auction. Well, think about this. In that scenario, the truck and the trailer both have dealer plates on them, and they're both being used illegally as service vehicles. So that's not allowed, okay? And so you want to make sure you never do that. You can also never put one on what the state refers to as a work vehicle, which is kind of, you might call a commercial vehicle that you're making money with. I've literally seen a 3/4 ton truck with a dealer plate on it with a snow blade, and I saw that dealer pushing snow at a major retailer with a dealer plate on it. Well, that dealer was making money with a vehicle that he hadn't paid sales tax on. So that's a work vehicle. You can't put a dealer plate on a work vehicle where someone's paying you to work. That's absolutely not allowed. I know a dealer that got a great deal on a tow truck at an auction and decided he was going to start himself a towing company with a dealer plate on the tow truck. Well, you can't do that because that becomes a work vehicle. So if you're ever providing a service and someone's paying you for that service, you could never put a dealer plate on that vehicle. You'd have to actually pay for the sales tax on that vehicle. You can never put a dealer plate on a work or a service vehicle. You're going to put it on vehicles that are being test driven by your customers. You're going to use them for transportation purposes back and forth from the dealer auction, but you never put it on a vehicle that is work, service vehicle, or a vehicle that's already been sold. If you have a vehicle that's already been sold, we're going to talk about your temporary registration plate, or sometimes we call them a TRP. So as a dealer, you're going to be able to issue a temporary registration plate, or TRP, on the vehicles you sell. So think of this as a temporary license plate that allows your customer to drive the vehicle they've purchased from you temporarily until they have their regular license plates for that vehicle they purchased from you. They can only be issued to the purchaser of a vehicle that is owned by the dealership for which it's issued. Okay, so you can't issue a temporary registration plate to your brother-in-law's car or just somebody that just walked in off the street. That's not allowed. They're only going to be placed on vehicles that have been sold by your dealership. And they do allow the legal use of that vehicle until the title and registration are obtained and then the customer is issued a license plate for that vehicle. So now, this requires that the dealer act as the buyer's agent and apply for and obtain the title and registration for the vehicle within 30 days. I want to repeat this. This is a very important law you need to be aware of once you have your dealer's license. You're going to be required to title and register a vehicle you sold to a customer within 30 days. Now, the temporary registration plate that you place on a vehicle is good for 45 days. However, state law does require that the dealer title and register that vehicle in the customer's name within 30 days, okay? So a dealer is required to register the vehicle that was sold within 30 days, but the temporary registration permit is good for 45 days from the date of the sale. Now here you see a sample temporary registration plate. So as you can see at the top, there's the year. There's an Arizona Department of Transportation, or ASDOT logo at the, and then the model and the year of the vehicle. Then you see the expiration date of the temporary registration permit. The temporary registration plate, and the TRP number. And at the bottom, you see your dealer name and your dealer number, the VIN, that's a vehicle identification number of the vehicle you place the TRP on, and the issue date. And as a reminder, this TRP expires 45 days from the date of the sale. So if you saw the issue date down there at the bottom, then that expired exactly 45 days. So that sample shows that that vehicle was sold on November 16th, but it expired 45 days later on New Year's Eve, which is 12/31. Now, next, I want to show you something that's a little bit different. This is a 30-day permit. Now, a 30-day permit can be issued by a dealer following the expiration of a temporary registration plate in the rare instance when there may be a problem obtaining the paperwork necessary to obtain the title and registration for the customer. Remember, you must register the vehicle you've sold within 30 days of the date of the sale. At this point, if the dealer has not done this, then this basically knocks the dealer out of compliance with the statutory requirement to obtain a title within 30 days, and you can be subject to penalty fees. So here you see that 30-day permit with the year, the ASDOT logo, the make and manufacturer there, the expiration date, the 30-day permit number, and the VIN issue date, which would be 30 days before the expiration, since this is a 30-day permit. So this does raise up some red flags when you've had to issue a 30-day permit, because that means you did not properly register that vehicle within 30 days of the date that you sold that vehicle. But next, I want to talk about your next permit, which is called a 90-day non-resident permit. A 90-day non-resident permit is a permit that will be placed upon vehicles that you've sold to someone that does not live in the state of Arizona, but they live in another state. So let's say someone from California or New Mexico or Colorado or some other state purchases a vehicle from you, which could happen quite often. You're going to issue a 90-day non-resident permit. So This requires the buyer to provide some type of proof of residency in another state and complete a non-resident affidavit, which you can find a link at arizonadealers.com. Once again, if you're issuing one of these, you're required to have that customer show you some type of proof of residency. It could be their out-of-state driver's license. And during this scenario, you also must complete a non-residency affidavit, which will have a link to that at arizonadealers.com. So this allows that non-resident to drive that newly purchased vehicle to the customer's state of residence. It does require the customer to obtain their title and registration in their state of residence, and then they'll have to pay their sales tax that are associated with their home state. So as you see here, a 90-day permit, a 90-day non-resident permit it's just a little bit different here. It's going to have the year, the Arizona Department of Transportation logo, the make, the expiration date, the permit number, the VIN, and the issue date, which would be 90 days before the expiration date. So you see, as this sample, if you sold that vehicle on November 16th, it would have expired the following year on February 16th because it is a 90-day permit, okay? So remember, a 90-day non-resident permit is going to be placed on vehicles you sell to anyone that does not live in the state of Arizona. So you're going to put this on any vehicle that you've sold to someone that lives in another state, okay? Next, we're going to go over a very important state law that requires you notify the state within 10 days of the sale of the vehicle, which is known as a notice of sale. Once again, this is very important for you to know once you have your dealer's license. You must complete a notice of sale within 10 days of the sale of the vehicle. Okay, now with that being said, I strongly encourage you not to wait 10 days. I strongly encourage you to get in the habit of selling that vehicle, congratulate that customer on that vehicle they purchased, and then jump over here and do your notice of sale. I recommend not to wait 10 days because if you waited 10 days, you might forget it. You might go 11 or 12 days and there are penalties incurred for that. So I strongly encourage you to sell that vehicle, congratulate that customer on the lot, and then jump over here and do your sold notice within 10 days of the sale of that vehicle, okay? So just as a reminder, the vehicle must be sold prior to submitting a sold notice. A sold notice is not a transfer of ownership, okay? I want to repeat that. A sold notice is not a transfer of ownership. To transfer ownership, then the seller must complete the transfer information that's on the back of the title and submit that title through the application system. Okay, so the sold notice is going to include the vehicle identification number along with the vehicle and seller's information, the seller or customer's driver's license number, the seller's name, the buyer's information, the name of the buyer, the address of the buyer, the date the vehicle was sold is required, okay? So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. And you're always going to make sure that you have plenty of paperwork here, but from the title menu on that business portal, you're going to click Dealer Sold Notice. The designated representatives from the dealership are going to log on to the AZMVD Now account to get started with your sold notice. So this is very, very easy to do once you've logged back in to your dealership AZMVD Now account. So you'll see that from the drop-down box, and you'll easily type the VIN of the vehicle that you have just sold, and then you're going to click search, and this really automated magical system is going to do a quick VIN lookup, and then it's going to show you the vehicle that you just sold your customer. So according to this, you just sold your customer a 2008 Nissan Frontier truck, okay? Now, if you sold your customer a 2008 Nissan Frontier and this vehicle saying, and this page says Harley Davidson on it, then you probably inputted the VIN information incorrectly. So jump back, make sure this is the vehicle that you sold. Make sure that is it. So confirm the owner of the vehicle that is listed on this information is correct, okay? So you want to make sure and complete the buyer's information and the sale date, okay? And this automated system is going to walk you right through the entire process. And then once you have done that, you are going to get this confirmation that shows the sold notice has been recorded. The sold notice will be saved to the vehicle record in the Motor Vehicle Division system. And if desired, you can print a copy of the sold notice confirmation for your files. And I strongly encourage you to do that. You always want to keep a good paper trail there. You're going to document everything that comes across your desk. In fact, you're required to have a scanner. You might as well make sure that scanner that you're required is a scanner copy machine so you can scan documents and you can also keep copies. But remember, state law does require that you submit the sold notice online within 10 days of the sale of any motor vehicle. Okay, and that's going to be a little bit separate than the actual registration that needs to take place for your customers, it takes place within 30 days. I want to give you that quick reminder because we're going to talk about the registration here in just a little while. When you sell a vehicle, you must do the sold notice within 10 days of the sale of the vehicle, but you also are going to be required to title and register that vehicle for the customer that you've sold them within 30 days of that transaction. So it basically is a couple of steps here. So as we're moving along here, I real quickly want to kind of give you this overview here on emissions. I want to talk really quickly about emissions. A licensed motor vehicle dealer whose place of business is located in a non-attainment area cannot deliver a motor vehicle to the retail purchaser regardless of whether the purchaser lives in an attainment or non-attainment area until the vehicle complies with emission standards, unless that is an exempt vehicle, such as an electric vehicle or something like that. If a vehicle is being sold between licensed dealers, that emissions test is not going to be required. A dealer in an emissions required area has to have the vehicle emissions tested before the dealer sells the vehicle to a retail customer. I want to repeat that very important statement there, okay? A dealer in an emissions required area has to have that vehicle emissions tested before the dealer sells the vehicle to a retail customer. It doesn't matter where the retail customer lives. Therefore, the emissions inspection certificate is required to be submitted with all supporting documents. When the dealer is in an attainment area and sells to a customer in a non-attainment area, the customer is responsible for completing the emissions requirement testing on their own. So do please keep that in mind when it comes to emissions requirements with your new business.